This is the podcast TV show that gives you the facts, food, and fitness. Join me as I travel around in my RV interviewing people from all around the world via online and in person, discovering the 8 dimensions of wellness so that we can find a way to live in complete balance.
Check that out, guys, the final product. If you're hungry, you got smell-o-vision, come get it. There you go, I wish, right? 2, 3. Time to get going.
Welcome to Wellness on the Go. I am your host, Jason Cronin, and enjoy the show.
Our special guest is an author, a speaker, and owns his own business called Love to Move. He's also a doctor in physical therapy. I'd like to welcome to the show, Stefan Zavalin. How are you doing today, Stefan? Great to see you again.
I am pumped. Thank you for having me back. This is exciting. I know you've got updated questions for me, so it's going to be some new stuff. I'm excited for it. And it's always great to speak to you.
It's awesome. I've been following you on LinkedIn and all over the place, the social media, like your new podcasting, your TEDx Talk. We'll dive into that, how that felt. But the first question is, how did you become an expert in this field? I know for people that haven't heard you before.
For sure. So what I try to do is I've understood that exercise is fantastic and we do need to exercise more. Physical therapy, fantastic. I love what I do. But I realized that we were kind of treating more along the lines of symptoms as opposed to the actual problem. And the problem is that we're not moving enough. Adding more and more exercise can only help to a degree. We have to start reducing the amount that we're sitting and changing the kind of culture and how we're doing the tasks at work. So if we're at a desk, it's finding those ways that you can stand up, walk, or pace, whatever it is, during your work. And I'm not asking you to do more on top of it. So as I started exploring this more and more, I noticed that a lot of times people are told about the facts that you need to stand up and, hey, standing desks can help this, and oh, a yoga session can help that. But we're not forming the culture around it. It's not as accepted in a lot of these spaces. And that's really why I'm moving towards it. And I've been learning a lot more and working a lot more with people around habit formation. And once again, that team building, that culture, so that you're feeling supported in it. Because you can be hit outside the head with the idea of move more, move more, move more. But if around you, the culture is still, we're just going to sit for 13, 14, 15 hours, it's not going to be beneficial. So that's kind of how I've pushed through that trajectory.
Isn't it true you said in your last interview that you said that if you don't move every 30 minutes, it's like detrimental for your health, or if something of that form?
Yeah. So at about that 30-minute mark, we have less blood flowing to our brain. We also have a huge decrease in the amount that we're breaking down fats in the bloodstream, up to 90% for some people, but that's not everybody. But it's pretty big at that 30-minute mark. We also have some gene expression, but it's not as big as the mental side of things, of where you're not having as much blood flowing to your brain. So it does reduce it.
It makes a big difference when you're trying to study, or when you're sitting down and studying all day long. You have to get up and move around. I love the fact that you're doing a lot of encouragement, movement, and just getting people up off the chairs and trying to get people to physically feel better by using movement. We're made to move, which I love the fact that you call it that. And we definitely are. Everyone knows that, but going to McDonald's every day is not moving.
Right.
Getting a latte is not moving. So, but on that subject, who is your ideal client? Which I know you're going to probably say majority, but who is that ideal people you really want to get moving out there?
Sure. Honestly, it comes down to entrepreneurs. I'm feeling more and more that people are moving to doing their own thing and being entrepreneurs. And what ends up happening is we go, oh, being an entrepreneur is so exciting. And then you're sitting behind a desk. Oh man, there's a lot of spreadsheets. There's a lot of trying to figure out and learning all these different tasks and a lot of Zoom calls and things like that. So for me, yes, desk workers are my ideal, but really those entrepreneurs that are going, I need to be more productive, but I can't just go for a walk. I need to find ways that I can be healthier and more productive without sacrificing all those precious hours that I need to be spending at the computer. That's really the ideal person. And I talked a bit about the culture side. I do work with teams, but I also work with individuals to make sure that, hey, what can we figure out for you? Maybe running is not the thing for you. That's okay. There are other things that we can do outside of even exercise that we can help you out with. But don't let that deceive you. I may still ask you to exercise a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I do for a living. I know you do too as well, to stay healthy, and you eat very well. And tell us a little bit about your background. You wrote a book, wasn't that true? I saw that you had a book coming out already, or you had a book out, and then you did a TEDx talk. So give us a little bit about that for people to reach out and find your book.
Absolutely. So the book is called Sit Less. And this is once again that kind of reminder of we can try to move more, but it's not scalable. You can't exercise for 5 hours a day. It's about sitting less. It's about finding those ways that we can change our kind of work culture and environment around those things. And so I wrote a book about it, and it has 3 sort of parts to every chapter. The first part is a story. We follow the main character. Her name is Alice, as she starts with kind of a low-level desk job, and then she progresses. So there's some leadership aspects to it. She backslides repeatedly because that's life. You're not going to succeed every single time. You have to know how to come back from those failures. And she fails a lot in the book, because I wanted to write it specifically that way, because that's just the truth. After the story bits, every chapter has an informative section that says, okay, here are the really important bits you need to understand and how to implement this in your life. And the final chapter, each chapter always concludes at the end with your next 3 steps, which is, okay, here are the 3 steps. If you were just grab and go right now, implement the information from this chapter. That way, anybody at any position can take this book and start working through it, of changing their own kind of life and habits, and then also affecting their team if that's something that they need to do. The TED Talk sort of complements all of that, but the TED Talk is in a way it's meant for sort of managers, ideally, because they're in the middle. They're stuck where employees are going, hey, I need a raise, and then C-suites are always going, hey, you need to do more. And they're kind of like, what do I do? So it's meant to go, okay, there are things you can absolutely do, and they don't really cost you that much, but they'll boost productivity. And the TED Talk is called Move More, Sit Less. And it's talking about that difference of the move more side, but also the sit less side, and how we can truly adapt all of that. But yeah, that's been the last several months, is working on both of those things.
That's awesome, because I saw that on LinkedIn. Definitely going to put the link to the TEDx talk and also the book talk. So your TEDx and the book, what came first, the book first or the TEDx talk? I'm just curious for people thinking out there about doing that.
Yeah, they kind of work together, and that was it was both difficult, but I liked it because the topics were the same. If you're doing 2 different topics, do not do them at the same time. It is a lot of work, because I wrote probably 27 different scripts for the TED Talk. And I rehearsed the final version of the script. I did about 150 run-throughs through that script. It takes time to do the TED Talk. So the TED Talk was recorded December 4th in Vancouver.
Nice,
flew all the way up there. That was fun and fantastic. And the book had kind of been coming along that entire time. So we recorded the TED Talk, and then it got put into the TEDx void, where they're kind of, you never know when it's going to get published. Processing takes a long time. But I said, well, I have the book finished up. And so I published the book at the beginning of January. I think it was January 2nd or 3rd that the book was published. So technically speaking, available to the public, the book came out first, but they were being worked on at the exact same time, because the topics they really go hand in hand.
That's good to know, because I didn't think about that. So some people have the book first and then the TEDx talk next. But in your own words, what is your definition of total wellness out there? I know you're a pro at this, so you're definitely going to blow us away with that.
So when I think about total wellness, I think we try to break apart a lot of things and compartmentalize them a lot. And we think, okay, exercise is the only way that I can be healthy and physically moving. Not necessarily, but you're going to have to move. You're going to have some kind of a movement. And the same thing of, okay, my mental wellness, the only way I can do that is if I meditate. That's not true if you start eating mindfully, if you maybe exercise mindfully. You can couple these things together. And when we find those ways that we can really couple all these different aspects of wellness together, we can live a life that's not just truncated into, okay, only here I'm working on my physical wellness, here I'm working on financial, here I'm working on nutrition. It can be all part of life. And so when it comes to total wellness, I think it's finding those ways that you can make all these little parts work together and work for you. You can't copy and paste somebody else's wellness. It's going to be very individualized to you specifically.
Absolutely. It's always custom for everyone out there listening. Mm-hmm. And I love how you said that, because it's like a chain. It links together and overlaps. Everything you do is going to give you a benefit in a good way or a bad way, depending how you actually are going to be in your life. Like I, for one, added all the things that you said, but I do other things to make myself have a routine, like a consistently over and over and over again, to make sure that I am healthy and well, and a good well-being, overall well-being, I guess you could probably say in general.
Yeah, absolutely. And that makes perfect sense to me.
And for our guest out there, how do we find you? The biggest part is to find you and hire you for your with the work that you do, and then the links to your book and also to your website. Can you give us a little bit about that?
Sure. So if you go to stefanzavalin.com, That's an easy place. It has all the links to whatever else you might necessarily need. If you just go to Amazon and type in Sit Less Stefan Zavalin, it's the first book that pops up. It's got a beautiful purple cover. That's because that's my favorite color, and so I decided to put it in there. It's wonderful that way. I'm also really present specifically on Instagram, Stefan.Zavalin, and I really post a lot of different videos and kind of tips. If you're just going, I don't know, let me get to know this guy a little bit more. Instagram's a perfect way, but you can always reach out there or find me on LinkedIn and just direct message me. I love questions, so never feel afraid to reach out to me. But yeah, those are the best ways.
Perfect. And is there anything else that I didn't mention that you'd like to add to the closing words for everyone to hear about?
I love your message about everything because you're trying to give people fitness wherever they are and trying to find those ways that they're able to not only be fit, but be well. And I think that's where this podcast is so important, is that trying to promote this idea of wellness and not just fitness by itself, and finding where fitness fits into the entire aspect of wellness. And so I think if there was a final word, it's know that it's a full thing. Don't take it bit by bit. Understand that there's a bigger picture out there, and your episodes provide the little bits and the puzzle pieces of the entire picture. And so put it all together. Yeah.
I really appreciate that, Stefan. Really work hard to make sure to have a good quality content, and having you on the show makes it even better. But it's been an awesome time having you here, and good to see you again and see all the work that you're doing. Please follow Stefan online. He has a lot of stuff going on, but I hope you have a great fit day, Stefan.
Thank you. You as well.
You're very welcome, and enjoy the rest of your day.